important, and we are pushing very hard.
One idea being debated is called 30 by 30. That target aims for an agreement for countries to set aside at least 30% of their land for conservation by 2030, though some critics say it could prompt mass evictions of indigenous groups. Mark New, CGTN, Montreal.
For more on the story, Marco Lambertini joins us. He's the Director General of World Wildlife Fund International. Thank you for being with us, Marco. The figures are stark, as we've been hearing. Human activity severely damaging 3/4 of all land on Earth and 40% of our oceans too. How much does biodiversity matter, and what do you want to see this week?
So first of all, thank you for having me. And yes, the figures are frightening, and they're frightening because we're beginning finally to understand that actually biodiversity is not just a moral issue that we have to coexist with the amazing diversity of life on the planet, but biodiversity in so many different forms, from the pollinators that help us produce food, to the fish in the ocean and rivers that provide nutrition, proteins to billions of people, to the biodiversity in the soil that makes soil fertile for our agriculture, and so on and so forth, is absolutely fundamental, not just to the balance of the planet, but also to our economy, to our social stability, to our health, as COVID-19 has tragically demonstrated. So nature conservation is rising at the top of the political agenda here in Montreal, which is about time, also because the previous climate COPs have highlighted the link between biodiversity and climate. Imagine this figure, think about this figure, that the forests of the world today are actually storing the equivalent of 100 years of CO2 emissions that we produce at the current rate. Imagine when we release in the atmosphere through deforestation and conversion all that carbon. Without nature, we will never achieve the 1.5 degrees of global warming limit. And so this new realization is making such a strong, compelling case for protecting biodiversity in nature in a way that they haven't done until now.
And this is a global issue as governments worldwide deal with national challenges, particularly the economic. Do you think there's really much hope for multilateral solutions?
Well, you're right. On one hand, there is a great realization of the need to protect nature for our own benefit and the benefit particularly of our children and their children. But on the other hand, the current geopolitical fractures are not very conducive to multilateral agreements. Having said that, we hope and we are really advocating for nature to be the topic and the theme that brings everybody together. Because at the end of the day, if we lose ecosystems like the ocean, forest, pollinators in the countryside, and biodiversity in other regions of the world, we will be all paying a dear price. And so it's in everybody's interest to halt and reverse nature loss and to move from a nature negative economy to a nature positive one. It is possible, and in Montreal we're discussing a plan to deliver it.
And you mentioned the COP summit there. We've recently seen COP27 wrap up in Egypt, the world's attention on Sharm el-Sheikh, and lots of world leaders as well. Do you think there's a risk the fight against climate change may be overshadowing the need to focus on biodiversity?
On the contrary, I think that the great attention to climate change is highlighting the role of nature in mitigating and adapting to climate change. And as I said, the ocean, wetlands, river systems, forest are all ecosystems, grasslands are all ecosystems that are contributing immensely to absorb a lot of our of the CO2 that our economy is emitting. 40% of the CO2 emitted by our society has been sequestered by nature. Big role played by the ocean as well, by the way.